Welcome to Speak Up and Stay Alive RadiOh with author, speaker, and your host, Pat Rouleau. Finally, someone willing and able to blow the top off hidden healthcare and hospital dangers. She's provocative, upbeat, balanced, fearless, fresh. Pat has over 20 years of experience as a professional public speaker and knows how to approach this important subject with enough humor and wit to keep you informed, entertained, and empowered. Each week you will say, "Oh," as Pat explores and exposes little-known hospital hazards, delves into the deep waters of dangerous healthcare practices, picks the brains of her good-looking and influential guests to help keep you and your family safe in today's fragmented healthcare system. The program is not intended to replace medical advice from a licensed professional, but rather to encourage you to become a well-informed participant in your health and well-being. And now, your host, Pat Rouleau.
Hello, I'm Pat Rouleau. Another great day to spend with you. And I just had an amazing week at the Cleveland Clinic's Patient Experience Summit, where I did on-site radio interviews with attendees from around the world, and then had the honor to speak for 90 minutes at a session I called The Patient Experience: Many Voices, Many Answers. During that time, I talked about the elusive patient experience and replayed short sound bites of previous guests as they described the patient experience. It was an important event, and I'm so happy to have been included. At the conference, I also made my newest CD available that is also all about the patient experience. The CD includes 5 of my previous hazards of the week as they pertain to the patient experience, and then ends with many of my former most notable guests as they share their definition of the patient experience. And I'm going to play a short segment for you in a bit. And later today, I have Tom Dahlborg with us again. He was here a few weeks ago from NICHQ, the National Institute for Children's Health Quality. Today, he's going to play a fun segment called Grill the Guest. In honor of summer, I guess. Well, you may also remember that his daughter Samantha is Miss Maine and will be qualifying for Miss USA on June 8th. So set your DVRs and your calendars for June 8th and cheer for Tom's daughter Samantha, Miss Maine. So sit back in your smushiest and fave seat, kick off your shoes, turn off that darned radiation-emitting cell phone, and enjoy this important time together. Now here's one of the segments from my new Patient Experience CD that you can also purchase. The CD is chock full of pure patient experience ideas, and it's only $9.95 plus a few dollars for shipping and handling. So you can own one for yourself, and they also make a great gift. Just go to the shop page at the website speakupandstayalive.com, or you can order by phone 440-725-5462. That's the end of my little plug there. So let's get started. This next segment is all about word origin. I'm a big fan of words. I love to dig deep into their history, as that offers true insight into what the word really means. What about the word experience? You'll just have to listen. It's time for the healthcare hazard of the week. Well, I'm back to the topic of the patient experience. Providers are trying to define it, to achieve it, to measure it, to standardize and replicate it. Maybe because it's such a difficult thing to describe or define, it therefore becomes immeasurable. Because of this elusiveness, I guess it causes my mind to work on it in an attempt to be the hero that comes up with the one-word solution. So again, I go back to what I like to do with words, and that is to study the root, the origin, and to dig deep into the definition. The word experience. Let's look at that for a moment. The word experience is as something personally encountered, undergone, or lived through, or the process of directly perceiving events or a reality, such as, I have experience with radio broadcasting, or I have experienced an Arizona monsoon. Another definition, and I found this to be kind of curious. The history of the word experience aligns it closely with the concept of the word experiment, because the word experience comes from the Latin word, the act of trying. I found that to be very interesting. Then there's all types of experiences. There's a physical experience, mental, emotional, spiritual, a religious experience, social, virtual, subjective, and on and on and on. Wow. Given all this, it's easy to see how the patient experience just might not be so simple to define and measure. But here's one thing I didn't find through all of my word research. Nowhere did I encounter the word fun or good or the word positive as a description. An experience seems to be just what it is, something that happens without any adjectives attached to it. Now, I think there are two things that happen when we enter the hospital doors or have a healthcare or hospital encounter. Number one, we are paying for a service. And number two, we are buying an experience. Maybe not with dollars, but in our minds and our hearts, we are buying the experience. Or maybe we are buying into the hopes or expectations of a positive experience. With our dollars, we are paying for a service. We are paying for clinical competency, which, after all, that should be a given. Our safety and the provider's ability to perform surgery or other procedures are simply expected. That is the service we are paying for. We are paying for the phlebotomist to draw our blood each morning. We are paying for the nurse to change our bandages. We are paying for the housekeeping staff to keep our room clean. These are things that should happen and are what we pay for. Now, when we leave the hospital and go home, we don't talk about how the surgeon skillfully used a laser to make tiny channels through our heart muscles and into the left ventricle. We don't talk about how easily the nurse put on gloves or unraveled the dressing. We don't talk about how the housekeeper refilled our toilet paper roll. We typically expect that level of competency and service and are willing to trade dollars for that. But when it comes to the experience, that's when we tell everyone we know, wow, my doctor was so kind and explained everything to me, drew pictures, and allowed me to ask all sorts of questions. And after surgery, he came or she came to visit every day. That made me feel safe. What a great experience. And the blood lady, oh, she had so many funny stories to tell. And the guy who cleaned my room, he always asked about my grandkids and told me about his. That is what we are buying. The immeasurable, the emotion, the warm feeling of a random stranger who cares for our outcome. Heart surgery is not fun. It's not a good time. All in all, it's a bad thing to have to experience. Yet in this case, we leave with the feeling of a good experience. Why? Well, first, the outcome was positive and we didn't die on the operating table, but really, it's because the doctor took the time to make us feel safe with compassion and empathy. The blood lady lent a little humor to a sharp poke. The housekeeper shared sincere interest and concern for our family. Can this type of soft behavior be standardized? This humanness is not a clinical service. It is the patient's long-term and lasting perception of their experience. It is the experience. It is the patient experience, and it is what we are buying. Remember earlier when I talked about how the origin of the word experience comes from a Latin word that means experiment or the act of trying? Oh man, it's times like these that I wish I hadn't cut so many of my Latin classes, but my instructor reminded me of Caesar, so it was much easier to head off to the old Mobby's hamburger shop than to sit through the Trojan horse translation with Caesar. Oh, sorry, I digress sometimes. But if the experience begins with an act of trying, as patients, let's try this. We cannot rewire our providers to have and to use soft communication skills, but maybe we can encourage it by approaching them first with knowledge and accurate information, with a willingness to ask questions in order to participate and understand what is happening with our health and to our bodies, and to do so in a gentle, honest, and a curious way. I'm still a big believer that when you ask someone for help in a way that truly sends the message that you do need and want their help, that even the most hardcore personality will respond. Let's experiment and become part of the process in creating our own patient experience. And remember, if you want more, you can purchase the CD. It's only $9.95 plus a few dollars for shipping and handling. Now you can own one for yourself. And again, they also make for a great gift. Just go to the shop page at the website speakupandstayalive.com, or you can order by phone 440-725-5462. That's the website speakupandstayalive.com, or by phone 440-725-5462. I can't tell you how many times people reach out to me and ask, I'm going to the hospital but don't have anyone to be my advocate. Can you help? Well, now I have the answer. As a family member or friend of an elderly person, you want to be there every minute of the day, but you simply can't. Senior helpers can help. They can monitor your elderly loved one while they are in the hospital so that you can get some rest. Their professional, locally based caregivers are available 24 hours a day to give you the peace of mind that your loved one is not alone. Services can typically be provided in the following facilities: hospitals, nursing homes, continuing care retirement communities, assisted living centers. And the benefits of their sitter service are huge. A watchful companion for your loved one, peace of mind for you, and access to quick start home care services. Think of that. Senior helpers can help your loved one while they are in a facility and then provide care when they transition back to home. Contact Senior Helpers today and share this with friends. To learn more about Senior Helpers surgery assistance and sitter services, call Senior Helpers 1-877-922-STAY. That's S-T-A-Y. They're local and serve Cleveland, Akron, Canton, and Medina. Call them today at 1-877-922-STAY. Senior Helpers, care and comfort at a moment's notice.
Tired of the same old presentations?
Can you forward to slide 38, please?
Are you looking for a new, out-of-the-box topic for your next event? Want your group to leave inspired, informed, and satisfied? No PowerPoint presentations and dim lights here. No snoring or snoozing goes on during Pat's presentations. To help your entire group, organization, business, or church stay safe during any healthcare or hospital experience, invite Pat to speak. Her presentation formats vary from 15-minute small talks to 30-minute lunch and learns, to 1-hour events called The Scoop, to full days. Pick a topic from her website or request your own. Visit her website, speakupandstayalive.com, or call Pat to discuss how she can make your next event fun, enlightening, and life-saving. Want testimonials? Go to the bulletin board link at the website for color pictures and comments from real people. Again, it's speakupandstayalive.com, or call 440-725-5462. That's 440-725-5462. And now, back to the show.
Don't stop.
You are listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive Patient Safety Radio. I am your hostess, Pat Rouleau, always on the lookout for a guest who has the experience and expertise to keep us safe during any healthcare or hospital encounter. And once again, today's guest is a perfect choice. He is Thomas H. Dahlborg, the Chief Financial Officer and Vice President of Strategy for the National Initiative for Children's Healthcare Quality, NICHQ for short, where he focuses on improving child health and well-being. Tom brings 23 years of leadership experience to NICHQ. His outstanding professional work includes bringing quality improvement to the healthcare arena, developing nationally recognized innovative access programs, addressing practitioner and patient needs and expectations. And since we talk quite a bit about patient needs, expectations, and the patient experience, I felt it important to invite him to the show today. So welcome to Speak Up and Stay Alive, Tom.
Thank you, Pat. Great to be here.
Oh, thank you. All right, Tom. Well, today we're going to play a little game that puts our guest under fire, and that would be you. And it's called Grill the Guest. I will ask 15 quick questions, and you have to answer using only 1, 2, or 3 words. And If we're nice, maybe we'll give you an entire sentence. Okay?
I will do my best.
All right, so are you ready to be grilled?
I am.
All right. You're going to be a patient in the hospital for a week. Name 3 things you will pack.
My iPhone, a picture of my family, and a picture of my puppy.
Oh, that's good. Let's ask why.
The iPhone is so I can connect with people, of course. My family because my children are in school and so forth, and I just they center me, they ground me. And when I told a story earlier about myself getting very, very ill, and my dog stayed with me during that time. That dog has passed on, but now the puppy, we have a little Papillon, is the same thing with anyone who's sick in our family, always stays with that person. So even though physically he couldn't be with me, I'd want him to be with me that way.
Oh, so things that give you strength, right? Make
Absolutely.
You feel good. Yes, good. All right. You are a hospital patient and can only speak one word. What would it be?
Well, I think it's 2 words, but I'd simply say thank you.
Oh, goody. I love that. On this show, I always tell folks that ask for help. Say, please, will you help me? And then even if it's a housekeeper that just wiped down the toilet seat, say thank you.
Exactly. And so I actually went in for a medical procedure, and I could tell the person that was trying to help me was the chaotic energy was over the top and so stressed. And the person, I think, helped me with my blanket. I simply said, thank you. And I could see the change. And he dropped his shoulders, and he took a breath, and he looked me in the eye, and he said to me, no, thank you. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the day was just totally different. So You're absolutely right. Please and thank you. It means a lot.
It really does. So basic. It's just what your mom taught you.
Exactly.
Come on, people. All right. As a hospital patient, what is the most important question you can ask your doctor?
Why?
Yes. I agree. Don't just take their word for it. Ask, why am I doing this? Why is it important?
Exactly.
You got it. Your child is in the hospital. What are the 2 most important things to be aware of?
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to use a couple more.
You may use more words.
That you're very cognizant of how you're feeling and how that energy is impacting your own child. Mm. So if you're stressed, and absolutely your child's in the hospital, you're going to be stressed. You have to be very careful around that. With one word, I say mindful.
Yes.
Very mindful of how you are, what you're reacting to, what you might be projecting, and then be careful and just really look for. The doctor and nursing team doesn't know your child like you do. So if their color is changing and you know it, doctor and nurse team maybe doesn't realize that. So the vitals might be fine, but you might be able to see those things that they wouldn't recognize and be sure to look for it and then communicate it.
Oh, you're good. Be mindful and be careful. Excellent. All right. What one word defines the most important element to assure a positive patient experience with regard to the hospital environment?
Listen.
Okay. What one word defines the most important element to assure a positive patient experience with regard to the doctor or nurse's behavior?
Watch.
Okay. Listen and watch. Those are good ones. As a patient, what is the most important thing you can do to assure a positive patient experience?
I would say be grateful.
Okay. That's a good one. In one sentence, describe or define the patient experience.
Understanding the patient's preferences and then honoring those preferences.
Oh, that is outstanding. This is Grill the Guest, huh? You're good. All right, a couple more. You are a doctor or a nurse. Your best patient always
asks me questions.
That was my answer.
Excellent.
Name 2 qualities of a good patient advocate.
I would say, again, similar to what I said over again, the parent. Be sure that you're truly advocating for the patient, not for yourself, because we all bring our baggage. We all bring our shadow. Be sure you're really focusing on the patient. And 2, do your homework. Understand what's really valid. Understand as best as possible the research and some of these other things. Because if you look at if you don't mind me going on a quick
No, please do.
If you look at the Institute of Medicine, what they've said, I believe the stat is 50% of all healthcare has no scientific basis. And when you think about these things, and someone's saying with this ego-type approach, yes, you must do this, really take a step back and really ask questions and really be aware of what's true and what isn't. or at least be aware of where you can go for that information.
Mm-hmm.
So those would be the key points.
And to circle back to what you said before and ask why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. All right. The best visitor should...
Again, be mindful of the patient.
Okay.
So when my wife was having our children, we had a lot of family and friends that wanted to come in, and then we had others that said, would you like us to come in?
Mm-hmm.
And it was really important to us, and we really felt that those who asked the question really understood, we're all different, and we all, do different things, but really understood and really cared about my wife and what she was going through, which was a very positive thing. So I would put it like that.
I agree. Sometimes you just see crowds of people in a hospital room, and you can look at the patient and tell that they're just so worn out and frazzled and more like a party for everyone else.
Exactly.
All right. You are being discharged from the hospital. What are the 2 or 3 most critical questions you should ask before leaving?
What's the very next thing I should do? What should I be looking for, especially from an adverse impact? And who should I contact next?
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's one of the most dangerous handoff times of all, when people check out, the car's running in the no parking zone, everyone's trying to get out of there in a hurry, and no one really knows what the next steps are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Or even what medications they might need to take.
Oh, exactly right. And a lot of times, the hospital doesn't understand all the different medications the patient is on, especially if it was a fairly quick visit. The patient hasn't felt that trust to actually disclose everything, and maybe they're taking not only medications, but supplements.
Yes.
And so being very, very careful and mindful of all of that, and again, being agile and creating a model where all that information can be taken into account, because supplements can be incredibly dangerous, as can pharmaceuticals, and then the interactions.
Absolutely. We talk about that quite a bit on this show, so I'm glad you mentioned that. All right, couple more. If you could paint your hospital room any color, what color would it be?
I'm not sure if I can answer that. I'm colorblind.
Oh, no. You're funny. All right. You can pass on that one.
Thank you.
All right. If you could hear only one sound in your hospital room, what would it be?
Oh, my wife's voice.
Oh, I was going to ask why, but we don't need to ask why. If you could smell only one smell in your hospital room, what would it be?
Oh, my wife's Norwegian perfume.
You love your wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I could tell. And last, finally, in one word, describe this game.
Fun.
Oh, good. It was like irritating, right?
No, it was either fun or informative, but you only told me I could say one.
All right. Take as many as you want. Go ahead.
Then definitely fun and informative.
Oh, fun. Well, who knew that hospital safety could be so much fun, right?
That's right.
Well, there's so much more we want to talk about. Am I missing anything that you would like to discuss?
So I was blessed recently to be part of a group really focusing on patient engagement, patient and family engagement. And I know you and I talked briefly a few weeks ago, and if you don't mind, I'd love to go back
Please, yes.
to that. So this group, it's people, patient advocates, and hospital leaders, and people from government agencies coming together to really make a difference. So there's about 40 of us in this room, and I was slated to be sitting next to the co-chair of this group. And at the last minute, I noticed my seat was changed, and it was because someone needed a plug, not a big deal. So I have this new seat, and I'm sitting next to this brilliant individual that happens to have Parkinson's disease. And throughout the day, as we're talking about patient engagement and really connecting with the patients and families, and we're talking about such things, we have this word cloud around partnerships and around the voice and so forth, I realized this person wasn't being heard. I realized this person was having challenges just being in that room. The chair wasn't right. The ability to go out to get food or a drink of water and so forth. So I'm sitting there saying, the biggest epiphany, or the epiphany I had during that time was, here was an opportunity to really listen to a person that's living it on a daily basis and really hear their story and really find out what are those real challenges, as opposed to us, quote, healthcare leaders thinking that we know it all based on where we're sitting. Mm-hmm. Here was an opportunity. And so I was blessed to actually have the opportunity to talk to this gentleman and really learn from him. And I was just so overwhelmed by how much I learned in a fairly brief conversation, and how much I learned just by watching and being witness to, that I now has helped inform me as I think about how can we truly engage patients. Mm-hmm. That group, again, brilliant people, they never were able to make that connection because they weren't blessed enough to be in the same seat I was, or be on the other side of this gentleman. So when I'm looking at some of the output from this group, which is different tools, different checklists and so forth, I'm like, yes, checklists are incredibly important. Atul Gawande, brilliant. Checklists are important. And yet, let's not forget the patient. Let's not forget really witnessing and being witness to what we're doing to our patients, how we're positioning our patients and their families, and what we can do better. Because a checklist or asking them to fill out another form is not the answer. But really connecting with them and really hearing and seeing and actually going out and seeing what they deal with on a daily basis, that's what we need. That will help inform us really to make radical and appropriate changes in our healthcare system.
Well, how lucky for you that your seat got moved, right?
That is so true. That is so true.
Sounds like a blog post coming up, huh?
I already wrote it. It's already...
Thank you for sharing that, because that's the kind of thing people need to hear. You know, it's not all clinical in white coat. It's more about when you mention touching the patient. That's what it's about.
Exactly.
Yeah. All righty. Where can our listeners, if they want to find out more about you and what you do, if they want to read some of the goodies that I read, where can they go to do so?
A lot of my blog posts are on hospitalimpact.org. So if you just go to www.hospitalimpact.org, you'll see my posts. I post typically once or twice a month. And then if you just simply Google my name, Thomas Dahlborg, D as in David, AHLBORG, you'll see my LinkedIn profile. A lot of my blogs come up. More recently, I've been asked to write some articles for a couple of different organizations. Those will be coming up. I do a lot of writing of blog posts and so forth for nichq.org and ICHQ.org as well.
I thank you for indulging our silly side, but really your answers were quite insightful, and I'm sure that everyone will remember more of this than they will anything else that we've said today.
Well, this is great. Pat, thank you so much for having me on.
My pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and let's do more sometime.
That sounds great.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
All right, you take care, Pat.
Stop.
After the show, be sure to visit the website, speakupandstayalive.com, for more life-saving information. Plus, that's where you can purchase the book, Speak Up and Stay Alive, The Patient Advocate Hospital Survival Guide. Bring the book to the hospital with you. It's the best way to stand out, and in a positive way. And remember, we donate 2 handmade pillowcases to either a troop member in Afghanistan or to a local veterans shelter for every book sold, with your name on it as the donor. So for a mere $20, you benefit, and so does some well-deserving warrior. Give a meaningful and useful gift that really says, I care. Give the gift of healthcare safety. Purchase the book, the patient safety logs, and throw in some of those icebreaker cards. It's a one-size-fits-all present that everybody needs. You can order online at speakupandstayalive.com, or you can request by email at speakupandstayalive.com, or call me 440-725-5462.
Dealing with my father's illness was full of difficult decisions. Hospice of the Western Reserve gave me the peace of mind that I made the right choice.
Discover why the Hospice of Choice is Hospice of the Western Reserve at hospiceofchoice.org.
All right, you're listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive, Patient Safety Radio. I am your hostess, Pat Rouleau. And today we've got a great crowd with us. I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves for our game portion of the show. We'll start with this young lady here.
My name is Jo Rouleau, and I'm Pat's mother.
Yay, Mommy's here.
I'm Chris, and I'm Pat's daughter, and I'm from Denver, Colorado.
Yay, Chris. Thanks for being with us today. We've got mom and daughter.
I'm Eric, and I'm a regionally famous radio producer from Northeast Ohio. I'm not related to any of these people.
Thank goodness you're saying, right?
But I'm Bob from Gatlinburg and a former financial planner. Thank you.
All right, folks, we are going to play
Shocking news from around the world.
Let's go for it.
Yeah. All right. Speak Up and Stay Alive. Shocking news number 1. Mad at your spouse? Low blood sugar may be to blame. Is that a shock or is it a crock?
I'm going to say it's a shock.
Okay, think it's a shock?
I agree with Bob. You know, if you have low blood sugar, you're just liable to lash out where you wouldn't if you felt better.
All right. Other
I
thoughts?
agree. Speaking from experience, when I have low blood sugar, I'm not in a good mood.
Are you a little irritated?
Not right now. When I have low blood sugar, I am.
All righty. I understand that one. Been there. What do you say, Eric?
I agree for the same reasons
All right.
everyone else said.
It is a shock. Wow. Spouses who are feeling, and here's a new word, folks, hangry,
I love
and have low blood sugar levels could explain their feelings of both being hungry and angry. And they may be more likely to be aggressive to each other, according to a new study. In fact, in this study, the lower the participants' glucose levels were, the more pins they inserted into the voodoo dolls that represented their spouses. The spouses with low blood sugar levels were also more willing to subject their partners to loud noises compared to those whose glucose levels were average. So this study may offer some potential advice for couples looking to avoid arguments.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hangry.
Hangry.
That sounds like a southern
Don't
word.
get hangry.
Got some coughing. Are you hangry? Okay. All right, here's the Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking news number 2. Here's some cereal box psychology. Adult characters on cereal boxes look straight ahead, and kids' characters look down at a 9.6 angle. Is that a shock or is it a crock?
It sounds too specific to be a crock.
I'm going to say it's a shock because I think if you look at the cereal boxes, all the athletes are looking straight ahead.
Oh, athletes on cereal box?
Oh, gosh, yeah. You got, Michael Jordan and all those characters,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
I agree with you, Bob. It sounds like it might be a crock, but I think it's a shock.
I wonder why.
I'm going to say shock for the same reason your daughter did. That was strangely specific, that 9.6 degree angle.
You guys are right. It is a shock. Wow. Yes, kids, Captain Crunch is looking at you, and so are the Trix Rabbit, Toucan Sam, and Tony the Tiger. The mascots on boxes of cereal advertised to children tend to stare downward to catch the gaze of kids. Why? Because eye contact, and think of them in the shopping carts, eye contact helps increase feelings of trust in a brand. According to a new study, researchers from the Cornell Food and Brand Lab studied 86 cereal box mascots in 10 grocery stores in New York City and Connecticut, and they found that the boxes are strategically positioned in the breakfast aisle, and on average, kids' cereal boxes are placed at a shelf height of 23 inches, while adult cereals tend to sit at 48 inches. Who would have thought there's such a psychology behind this?
There's psychology behind everything in order to sell a product.
I'm tempted to take a tape measure to the cereal aisle to test this. But
It's amazing. Everything's a science.
I could just see Eric in the grocery store with a tape measure. All right, so think about that next time you go cereal shop.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was a good one. Here's the Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking news number 3. Adults have more bones than babies. Is that a shock or is it a crock? And Chris, you're the new mommy, so what do you think?
Oh, God.
This is a tricky one, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It is tricky. Oh, my. Let's say that they do, that it's a shock.
Okay.
You do have more bones.
Adults have more bones than babies? Okay.
I think it's a shock. I think if babies are formed, I mean, they have just as many bones. They might be smaller.
Okay.
I think some of their bones hadn't matured yet, so I'm going to say it's a crock.
Oh, that's true, too.
Ooh.
I'll say a crock.
All right. It is a crock.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Hi, I hit that one on the head.
The human skeletal system is full of wonders. Consider this. Adults have fewer bones than babies. Why? We start life with 350 bones, but because some bones fuse together during growth, we end up with only 206 bones as adults.
I guess I just read that, how babies have like 4 bone plates in their head with the little soft spot in between, and then it becomes like one.
Mm-hmm.
So
It has to in order for it to be born.
yeah.
It's got to be able to move.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
I have to confess, though, I was right for the wrong reason. I thought it was equal.
Oh, okay. You always think all my questions are tricks. All right. This one's a tricky one, too. The Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking news number 4. Some people have ear wiggling muscles. Is that a shock or is it a crock?
I'm saying it's a shock because I can wiggle my ears.
It's so weird.
It's a shock because I can't wiggle my ears.
I think it's a shock, too. I think I've seen people wiggle their ears.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen that in action, so I'll say shock.
All right, it is a shock. Wow. Cats, dogs, and some lucky people are able to wiggle their ears using a group of muscles called auricularis. Ooh, sounds Latin. This group includes the auricularis anterior, which draws the ear forward, the auricularis superior, which raises it, and the auricularis posterior, which pulls it backwards. Although we all have these muscles, it is thought that only about 15% of the population is able to use them to wiggle their ears. It was likely a useful skill back in the day when earlier humans needed to turn their ears toward the direction of an alarming sound, but today it's mostly used for fun. As Bob wiggles his ears.
Oh,
I think it's your eyebrows that are moving.
No, it's not my eyebrows are moving.
It is. They're helping.
It's your eyebrows moving. Oh gosh, Eric, anything?
All this reminds me of is that I'm disappointed because I didn't get I didn't get the ear wiggling gene, and I did not get the gene that allows you to do the thing with the hand that Spock from Star Trek does. I wish I could do that, but I can't.
Oh,
I'm doing it now.
I'm doing it now too.
Like it?
Oh, too bad it's radio, folks, or you would be
I saw it. She did.
embarrassed. Speaking of embarrassing, here comes the next Speak Up and Stay Alive. Shocking news number 5. Oh, who writes these questions? Peeing in a pool causes surprising health hazards. Is that a shock or is it a crock?
That is a shock.
That is a shock. I mean, you just have to think about it and realize that it's not a good idea.
But is it a health hazard?
Oh.
What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, usually there's so many chemicals in pools that you think it takes care of anything bad, but I'll say it's a shock.
Okay, Eric.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that same thing. I wonder like how much the chemicals help to counteract.
Well, what happens? Those chemicals
contamination.
make you sick anyway. The chemicals are not good for you anyway, so stay out of pools.
Well, you're all on to something.
Well, it depends on how many chemicals and how much pee is in it.
Oh, chemical versus the pee
That's it.
ratio.
Oh,
Well, you're on to something. It is a shock, and the chemicals have something to do with it, but kind of for some different reasons. Wow. Peeing in the pool not only has an ick factor, but it also produces a surprising health hazard when urine combines with pool chemicals, okay? So according to a new study, the results show that uric acid, a compound in urine, combines with the chlorine used to disinfect pools to produce potentially hazardous compound called volatile disinfection byproducts. One byproduct is cyanogen chloride, a compound that is known to be toxic to many human organs if it's inhaled. Another compound, trichloramine, has been linked with lung injuries from exposure to chlorine-based disinfectants. Now, a common misconception within the swimming community is that urination in pools is an acceptable practice, although signs and placards are posted in many pools to encourage proper hygiene. It's also well known that many swimmers ignore these warnings. Particularly noteworthy among these are competitive swimmers. A 2010 study suggests that disinfection byproducts can cause genetic mutations when tested on cells in a lab dish, and this study was published, bless you, Bob, in the February issue of the Journal of Environmental Science and Technology.
Well, I was right.
stay out of the pool.
Stay out of the pool.
Ooh, yeah. The volatile disinfection byproducts.
Wow.
Out of pools.
You know what? I don't have gills, so maybe I'm just not meant to swim.
You don't have gills, do you? Another one of those genetic problems you're having, right? No fingers of Star Trek. No
wiggly ears.
wiggling of the ears.
No feathers, so I can't fly.
Oh my gosh, what a sad group we are. All right, guys, let's speak up and stay alive. Shocking news number 6. Frequently eating pasta has been linked to depression in women. Is that a shock or is it a crock?
To me, that's a shock because Patty eats pasta all the time, and she's fine.
I am not depressed.
Almost that's a
And I think a lot of times eating carbohydrates like that actually makes you feel better. It's like happy food.
Yeah? What do you say, Bobby?
I said it's a crock.
You think it's a crock?
Uh-huh.
What do you say, Eric?
Well, I don't know. It depends on how frequently you're eating the pasta. Like, are you eating it every hour? That's a lot of calories.
Yeah. No, yeah. See, and I think frequency has a lot to do with it. Sadly, it is a shock, and I love pasta. Wow. Pasta, white rice, and bagels are all foods that have been identified as inflammatory and have been linked to depression in women ages 50 to 77. I don't know where that
leaves me out.
According to an October 2013 study in the journal Brain Behavior and Immunity. In the studies, researchers looked at the eating habits of more than 40,000 women who didn't have depression at the study's start. They found those that consumed inflammatory foods regularly were more likely to suffer from depression by the end of the study. Now, the study also indicated, though, that soft drinks as part of a regular diet may also contribute to depression. So if soda is your go-to drink when you're thirsty, it may be time to rethink that strategy. And fast food. People who ate fast food are 51% more likely to develop depression than those who don't. And this includes commercial baked goods, hamburgers, hot dogs, pizza. So keep in mind that eating a small portion of any one food is unlikely to raise depression risk. So don't worry if you've just eaten your first heaping bowl of pasta or have had a very occasional fast food burger. On the other hand, if this list describes 3 of your basic food groups, you may benefit from a drastic dietary adjustment.
You don't see too many people with a depressed look on their face when they're having a hamburger. Which doesn't mean that what you said was
true. Maybe that comes later.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it takes a while.
Good. I don't know.
I was just thinking about my food groups, like the whipped group, the greasy group.
The whipped group. What is in the whipped group?
And stuff with Cool Whip on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Cheese whiz and stuff like that.
Exactly. All right, the whipped food group. Forgot about that one. All right, everything in moderation. I guess that's the takeaway, okay? All right, folks, here is the final Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking naked... All right, well, let's start over. And now for the moment we wait for all week. It's the Naked Mole Rat Minute. Bob's shaking his head. Here's the final Speak Up and Stay Alive shocking naked mole rat news. Inject lemon juice or the essence of chili pepper, capsaicin beneath the skin of a mouse's paw, and it will shake it and lick it like crazy. If you do that with naked mole rats, they don't do anything. Is that a shock or is it a crock?
It's a shock.
I'm not familiar with the mole rat, but if he's that good about not getting disease and everything, I think he knows what he's doing. Follow the mole rat.
I'm not going to say a
the one
word.
that doesn't feel pain.
Yes.
So I would say it doesn't do anything.
You guys are right. It is a shock. Wow. The naked mole rat couldn't care less. Naked mole rats are impervious to chemical pain. So this finding is particularly significant because the nerve fibers associated with chemical pain are also involved in post-traumatic pain in people, precisely the type of discomfort that researchers would like to eliminate. It's okay to have pain sensation to tell you to get your hand off the stove or to stop exercising because your knee is in trouble, but post-surgical pain or joint pain after, say, a knee injury, those are types of pain we can do without. And the naked mole rats are laying the groundwork for potentially finding new ways to treat the kinds of pain we don't want.
No, that's great. The naked mole rat's, he's a lifesaver.
He's on his way to not just being vertebrae of the year, but vertebrae of the decade.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Let's all cheer the naked mole rat. Ready?
Yay.
Naked mole rat.
Naked mole rat.
Oh, my God. What's this show coming to?
Well, guys, that concludes the seemingly foolish portion of the show. Today we learned about feeling hangry, that's hungry and angry, creepy cereal boxes, bones and babies, ear-wiggling muscles, peeing in pools, inflammatory foods and depression, and of course our hero, naked mole rat.
Naked mole rat.
Naked mole rat.
So I have to ask, Eric, on what other patient safety radio program will you find this kind of illuminating and user-friendly information that ignites your mind?
What other patient safety radio program is there?
There's not one.
There's not one.
There isn't.
And thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Isn't that fun to be here?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mom, for being here. Chris, thank you.
Thank you. That was fun.
It is fun.
It takes your mind off everything, doesn't it, Chrissy?
That's right, it does.
Yeah. So we're glad you got on the show with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome. I had a lot of fun.
You are fun, Bob. And thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Oh, you're always great to have here. And folks, don't move any of your 206 muscles or whatever you have left. There's so much to learn on America's favorite radio show, Speak Up and Stay Alive, Patient Safety Radio. And that's a wrap, guys.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Pat.
Naked
That's fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Chrissy.
And I will.
What happens if you become unable to speak for yourself and are in the middle of a healthcare crisis? Wouldn't it be comforting to know that someone you know and trust, a family member or trusted friend that you named, is on your side with complete instructions that mirror what you want to have happen to you? If you do not have a properly drafted living will or healthcare power of attorney, you are living dangerously. And if you do have these documents, when was the last time you reviewed them with someone? Well, my friends Pat Schraff and David King at Schraff & King are the ones to help you. Call them right after the show at 440-585-1600, 440-585-1600, or visit them online at schraffking.com. Now to the health side of life, when you need to de-stress and pamper yourself a bit, or if you have any skin issues, eczema, psoriasis, acne, rosacea, you must visit my friend Lisa Stewart at Celia Spa in Brecksville. She has state-of-the-art equipment not found in other local spas and is trained to relieve your aches and pains through massage, facials, and high-quality and effective skincare products. Call Celia Spa at 440-526-0522. That's 440-526-0522, or visit Solia Spa, SOLIA spa.com. Do you or someone you know work in the healthcare field? Ask them if they know that bacteria can live on fabric for weeks and even months. Think of the cross-contamination opportunities. Think of scrubs. How are they washed? With bleach? Oh no, that would ruin the pretty colorful designs. Most scrubs are made from poor quality broadcloth and are not bleachable. BrendaJune.com scrubs, their fabrics drape beautifully, they breathe, and they move with you as you go about your busy day. Pants, skirts, tops, their fabrics are durable and bleachable. If you wear scrubs, you owe it to yourself and your patients to wear scrubs responsibly. Visit BrendaJune.com for high-quality, American-made, bleachable scrubs. That's BrendaJune.com. Take control of your protection today. Visit BrendaJune.com or call 1-855-668-7278. They make a great gift, too. That's BrendaJune.com. Do you or someone you know need help to navigate a hospital stay or a confusing medical situation? Concerned about nursing home care or just need a neutral medical person to guide you in the right direction? Or are you completely confused about health insurance and all of the interesting options? Well, I have the solution. She is Hari Khalsa, an experienced patient advocate who can help. And she's just one phone call away at 1-800-980-HEAL. That's 1-800-980-HEAL, HEAL. Or visit her website, healthcarewhisperer.com. You're listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive, Patient Safety Radio. I am Pat Rouleau, your hostess and author of the book, Speak Up and Stay Alive, the Patient Advocate Hospital Survival Guide, available at all of our live speaking events or at our website, speakupandstayalive.com. And let me remind you, if you are looking for a speaker for your next event, I am happy to share my expertise with your group. We can focus on patient safety in healthcare and hospital hazards, or any other variations on healthcare, including the effects of smart meters, cell phones, and other technological dangers. My presentations are always fun, fast-paced, and full of information you will not find anywhere else. So contact me, and let's talk about how we can make your next event a memorable and worthwhile experience. Call me at 440-725-5462 or email speak@speakupandstayalive.com. Your audience will thank you. Now, if you missed some of today's show, it's not too late to hear it all. We make it easy for you. Just go to the radio link at the speakupandstayalive.com website. Click the link with today's date. And again, that's where you can also purchase my book, Speak Up and Stay Alive, the Patient Advocate Hospital Survival Guide. And be sure to come back next week. Always have so much to share with you. So tell your friends, mark your calendars, and set your alarms for next week. Same time, same place, but never the same information. Start your week with an O. Speak Up and Stay Alive, Patient Safety Radio. And until next week, I hope you have a healthy and a happy week. I am Pat Rouleau, and I am your guide to safe and successful healthcare and hospital encounters.
A hospital visit can be painful in so many ways, but not if you're a naked mole rat.
That's right. The naked mole rat feels no pain.
Ah, to be a naked mole rat.
Well, I can't turn you into a naked mole rat, but I can offer tips and tools to help keep you safe during any healthcare or hospital visit. Listen to Speak Up and Stay Alive, Patient Safety Radio, right here every Saturday morning.
And invite Pat Rouleau to speak to your group about patient safety and the patient experience. Your crowd will love it. Visit speakupandstayalive.com. That's speakupandstayalive.com.
And leave your naked mole rats at home.
Naked mole rat.
The naked mole rat.
Naked mole rat!
Go, go, go! Can you guys believe this show?